have been playing. Now look at the mountains have a limitation that 65% land is under forest cover. The kind of economic growth, the model that we have, we cannot take up on the mountain, and therefore the mountain people have a major suffering in this form, because they cannot compete with an urban guy who has an earning in a form of a service or doing an enterprise. Relatively their income is far and far low. At the very time, we cannot deny they are the guardian of the resources which feed the rest of the country. People in Himalayas, the mountain, rural as a whole, must have a totally different road map for economic development, and it has to be defined in a form ecological employment opportunities.
तो मुझे लगता है क्लाइमेट चेंज के जो प्रभाव हैं उसका सामना करने के लिए लोगों को तैयार करने की आवश्यकता है। इसके लिए एक जागरूकता अभियान चलाने की जरूरत है। अपने यहाँ जो अवेयरनेस के जो लेवल हैं उसके स्तर को थोड़ा सी ज़्यादा बेहतर करें, उसको थोड़ा और साइंटिफिक करें, लोगों तक पहुँचे। हम अपने अवेयरनेस की जो तौर तरीके, हमारे जो अवेयरनेस के मटेरियल हैं, पॉपुलर रीडिंग मटेरियल हैं या समझाने के तरीके हैं या डिमॉन्स्ट्रेशंस हैं, हम उनको थोड़ा सी बदलें और लोगों को माने कि अब वो सारी बातों के जानकार हैं।
Life in the mountains has always been high risk. It's always difficult. It's always been, broken in by landslides every year, by floods which wash away villages. So they've always had the cycle of adaptation. It's not something I think that would be very new to them. It would be something which they have been doing over centuries, adapting to every new circumstance. So if we say that are they better equipped to adapt as compared to women of other parts of the world, or women or men for that matter? I think it will be very much in the natural course of things. I don't think it's going to be, for them, climate changes are going to be anything, very different from the changes that they see in their day-to-day life. But on the other hand, I also feel that a woman in the mountains, in a remote, isolated village which has no road connection, which has, where they work from 4:30 in the morning to 9:30 at night, I think there isn't much scope for them to be doing anything.
In terms of the process of policy making has become very inclusive, very participative, and at least it is not anymore top-down. Next thrust of democratic governance should be participatory governance, and there should be nothing where the people themselves are not self-governing. Let the governance be at the bottomest level. If I had the will, I will make the Vidhan Sabha totally and Secretariat redundant, because both of things should go down, and the Jila Panchayat should be the hub of activity. That is next stage. From state we should move to district. District should be made a hub of the activity, and district should ensure that things go down. Once we have fought this MLA mindset, controlling at the state level, that is the beginning of real democracy. So I think people should now come forward to see that the 73rd, 74th Constitution Amendment is implemented letter spirit. The fund function functionally. All the funds, functions and functionaries should all be delegated. Once you do that, most of the problems you are seeing will also vanish. So that I think acceptance should be there. And that is the biggest thing happening in our country.
Definitely there is a disconnect. There is a disconnect because of the quality of our education in the mountains, and because the yardsticks by which we measure literacy are very strange. So whilst mountain areas are seen as highly literate, rather well educated, I think we need to have a look at some of the issues of the quality and how we judge literacy.
If you want to make an intervention in the mountains which are related to climate change, you need to make sure that you understand the entire energy flows and biomass flows and various kinds of flows, hydrological flows that happen in the mountain farming system, and then you design your intervention. If you work on individual components, your intervention is bound to fail. For example, it is said that for 1 acre of agriculture to be sustained in the mountains, you need at least 24 acres of forest land to be available, because a lot of the biomass flows come in from the forest into agriculture. Ultimately, I think every community is responsible for their own development. Okay. So, I do not subscribe to the view that there should be a group of external people who come and make intervention for mountain people. I believe that mountain people should make their own intervention. They should address their own issues. Where they need to interact with external people is where their own knowledge may not be adequate to address complex issues.
There never had been substantial representation of the mountain people in the group of the policy makers in our country. Compared to the other parts of the world, the people who are living closest to the earth, closest possible to imagine, are the people of the mountains. Possibly in certain parts of the hilly areas where we are blindly following the developmental or growth models, consumerist models, people have become a little bit alienated from their very earthly way of living, but mostly people are very connected to earth.
This gives an opportunity to mountain people to claim for clean energy. Clean energy has a lot of dimensions. It means less dependence on firewood, means more carbon sink. So the overall carbon balance should be kept in mind, and people should be given opportunities to improve their lives. I believe that technologically advanced and rich India can take care of these things.
I think that the issue of why this is not converted into economic activity, because these kids all come out from high schools or from universities and they don't have an education that is usable. Is education relevant to the region from which this child is coming, and is it usable? How much attention has any planner in terms of the mountains thought of horticulture, agriculture, tourism, the entertainment, the kind of things that we are strong in? We have no educational avenue to become absolutely qualified in. Where are our geologists? Where are our people who are going to be able to deal with disaster management? These are all very technical kind of professions where you find no levels of education happening in the mountains. But why is education not relevant to a region, and why is it not usable? Because at the end of the day, बीवी बच्चों को पालना ही है, and you can't follow it with some kind of a subject, and that will not give you as you're talking about economic growth. It won't, economic growth doesn't only happen with a higher level of employees. When Tata came to try and open up their factory here, they couldn't find simple people like carpenters, they could not find lace operators, they could not find electricians. The most basic skills. Our Paharis are going to migrate. but let them migrate with a skill. Where is the skill development? Is that not education? So if you come in to the mountains with ideas that you are going to economically develop it, then please develop it with those kind of industries that are relevant to our region.